New York legalizes pot, which will create more disorder. All right. Kids 8, 9, 10, they smoke some pot. Easy. I see a coming storm here, a tsunami building with the drugs, the soft drugs, the pot, and the high-tech abuse. I think it's abuse. I think if a kid's texting 100 times a day, that's abuse. Go.
So 100 times a day?
It's abuse?
Yeah, abuse.
It's abuse for them to text. Are you telling me that if I binge too much Netflix, it's abuse now?
Yeah, you're abusing yourself. You're not taking care of yourself.
Right there, he knows. Yeah. He knows. That's the moment. That's the moment. He took him and RKO'd him, okay? Dr. Carl Hart destroyed that man. It was brutal. It was beautiful. So, are you guys familiar with Bill O'Reilly?
Oh, yeah.
So, I wanted to go down the Bill O'Reilly pipeline on one issue to just show you.
Or consume cannabis products, effective immediately.
Exactly what's on Bill O'Reilly's mind in current year.
Wait, one sec. Before we do this, didn't this motherfucker get fired from Fox News or something? And he had to pay out millions for sexual assault?
sexual assault, sexual harassment. Yep.
Like literally, like 50, 60, maybe 100 million or some crazy number they had to.
To be clear, the personal responsibility guy, Bill O'Reilly, did not take responsibilities for his
act. The company covered it.
Okay, so what is an issue?
Oh, this shit.
Yeah, we've got all of the good stuff here. Okay. So this is what Bill O'Reilly used to talk about when it came to marijuana when he still had a show on Fox News. I'll just play a 44-second clip, right?
Back to tip of the day. Ohio says no to pot, and it was by a landslide. Yesterday's vote on legalization, 64% against, just 36% in favor. So Ohio joins Florida and Arkansas in the recent no's against legalizing medical marijuana. Alaska, Colorado, Washington State, and Oregon have said yes. Now, I think it's a cultural thing. In the South and Midwest, traditional values are held in more esteem. Drug use is considered to be bad, generally speaking. Out west is a more libertine attitude. So here's the factor tip of the day. The more sobriety there is in any society, the stronger that society will be. Period.
What a backwards position. Okay, so the first thing I would say is, okay, that's a fine personal value to have, but that's different when you're legislating people's behavior. Because if that's the case, then Bill O'Reilly should be at the front of the charge, and he is against the legalization of marijuana. To be clear, I'm not strawmanning him, and in fact, we're going to show what his current position is in a bit. If he is really committed to this position of sobriety, then he should be in favor of prohibition. But we all saw how that went. And we all see what the wreckage of the drug war is right now, which is just a different form of prohibition. It is on a ticking time bomb. The plug on that is well overdone to be pulled, and eventually some politician's gonna go over there and scrape together the political capital to do it and pull that.
You know what's gonna happen? It's gonna be when one of these politicians comes to Canada to get their health care, like we've seen in the past, and then they walk around and they're like, "Yo, everyone's smoking weed on the streets and the parks, literally like fucking everywhere." And everything's perfectly fine, yo, based, and then they're gonna that'll be the push that you guys need. But I can't believe it, bro. We legalized in 2018, and 4 years. Like, how many years is your biggest trading partner, the biggest land border?
Dude,
like literally,
I live
right
in
there.
Maryland. I'm in a blue state. We don't have legalized pot in Maryland.
Oh, that sucks.
I live in a blue state,
bro.
Man.
It's wild. It's wild.
Now, thankfully,
when I first saw this clip,
I actually interviewed Gabriel Acevero, and who is somebody in the General Assembly right now, and he is charging on this issue particularly, and it seems like the Democratic leadership is going to be charging on it as well. And
moving and shaking as always.
I'm going to see if I can move and shake on that issue a little bit too. But right now, as of right now, it's not legal in the state of Maryland.
Moving and shaking is what I do every time I roll a blunt.
So yeah, this was
when you sent this clip. When you sent this clip and I watched it, like the first thing I thought is like, in a technical sense, I guess what he's saying is true. Like if we were to like debate bro this, like the more sobriety there is in a society, the stronger it is, I guess, because people are like, you know, more clear-minded in his eyes. But like, I really disagree because it's like, as you said, it's more about when people choose sobriety. This is true. Like when people choose a sober lifestyle. and that is in line with like how they want to live their life, then sure, like we'll have a stronger society because people aren't moved to like choose drugs or something like that. But when they aren't choosing sobriety and we're just forcing it on them, then obviously it doesn't lead to a stronger society to do this.
You could say this about like anything though. Like for example, sugary foods. Like less sugary foods and abstaining from sugary foods leads to a better lifestyle. Like you could say this about particularly any vice, but it doesn't mean you ban the vice. One of the few things I really like about this country, right? Or one of the many things, okay, I'm a patriot. One of the many things I love about this country, okay, is the fact that you principally should be able to do stuff if you want to do that thing and people leave you alone. We don't ban the pornography. We don't ban the alcohol. We shouldn't be banning the drugs, okay?
Yeah.
We let people live how they want to live, okay? But if people try to prey upon others, say drug dealers lacing fentanyl or stuff like that, then the government gets involved. And that's how I would like it to go. And that feels like the perfect system for the United States of America. The system literally entrenched in freedom, but apparently it isn't. And so it's
isn't that the system in other countries too?
And Portugal, for example. Portugal's a great example of it.
Or like I thought like in Switzerland they had like harm reduction policies when it comes to like drugs, and like people who are heroin addicts can like seek help, get like clean needles, like
we have that here as well. We have that here as well.
Clean needle exchange programs,
tons,
or like finding like a less like powerful form of it so that they don't like OD and stuff.
Narcan. Everybody at home, if you can get your hands on Narcan, have it on you or in your vehicle or somewhere. I know it's expensive. Do that. It will save a person's life. It is actually like magic, unironically, for somebody that is over. So anyway, that was Bill O'Reilly's position, in 2014-15. Pretty honestly backwards for then too. What do you think his position is today? Like today?
Well, it's the same. Spoiler, he knows.
Yeah, it's
he might be shilling CBD oils and shit now. He's off Fox News now.
Even though the majority of Republicans now support legalization of marijuana, the majority of Democrats support it. Okay, when I say it's close to a majority for Republicans, a majority of independents, a majority of Democrats, a vast majority of Americans, way over. It's like 7 out of every 10 Americans. And by the way, in that clip, he was also against medical marijuana, just to show how trenched he was in that position, which that is like 8 out of 10, like 85%, 86%. A massive amount of Americans are in favor of this.
I mean, he grew up in like the prime, like his media career too, like grew up during like the rise of the drug war, right? Like he's like from that age of reefer madness for himself, and then like playing into like the memes that came out in the drug war about like this is your brain on marijuana and shit like that. It doesn't surprise me that he just thinks drugs bad, or like maybe the audience that he has thinks drugs bad, so he still plays to it.
Listen, the thing is, sometimes people, I don't really expect people of his age to change their positions much. I'm not trying to be ageist and shit, but like I feel like we get grounded in our positions, right? Like I don't expect. That's why like when people have racist family, like racist grandma and shit, I'm just like, okay, like I don't know, you are what you are,
I think it's the right thing to try. Okay, I think it's a good thing to try, because I've seen it's always strange, because I'm young, I'm 20, when I get like 60, 65-year-old commenters in my YouTube videos, I'm just sitting like, wow. I don't even know what to say. It's just like an amazing thing.
It's from a different time,
It's a different time, just like completely like. I wasn't born yet, and they were 45.
Bro, motherfuckers your age don't even know what life was like before the internet. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Anyway, true. Anyway, let's listen to Bill O'Reilly's position today with this video from about a year ago, which shows his still current position. New York legalizes pot. Disaster incoming.
New York legalizes pot, which will create more disorder. All right.
The only thing it's gonna create is more Uber Eats runs.
Amen. Let's sponsor, dude. I believe that if you want a stimulus for the local economy to get us back out there after COVID, just legalize pot in Maryland. We're gonna see like restaurants bumping up. Restaurants, takeout, everything.
Our Uber Eats will actually go to dispensaries for us. Like there, you can pick up your weed from the Uber Eats.
I was in California not smoking weed, and I found that out. It's crazy.
I love that these guys picture that like things aren't going to get done because like a politician just like took a hit and is like, I'm not going to sign that budget bill
They're like-
today. Fuck it, I'll do it tomorrow. Whatever.
They're
No-
like,
no
sir, what
more-
about the
no more
garbage
roads.
workers? They're on strike. He's like, fuck
No
it.
more
And then
roads,
the
Heem.
streets
It's all right,
just like
dude.
filling with trash.
It is what it is.
No more roads. No more roads.
All right, let's hear it.
Hi, no more roads.
People who are 21 and older are allowed to use, smoke, ingest, or consume cannabis products, effective immediately, says Governor Cuomo. Another brilliant move there, Governor. Man, you are so effective. So now, in a city.
Well, yeah, he did it.
Dude, you know what's
Wait. Back the fuck up. Okay? Even if you disagree, you can't call it ineffective. He did it. It'd be like if, let's say you had a different policy from me when it comes to taxes, and I had this tax policy, and I did it. I just did all of it. The last criticism you could say of me was, wow, you're so ineffective. No, I did exactly what I said I was going to do. So Cuomo
just
was
don't like it.
effective on the thing. He was effective. You can't call him ineffective. He's literally got you angry. You being angry is an example of Cuomo before, being effective.
The funny thing is, this is one guy who got in trouble for sexual misconduct, giving shit to another guy who got let go from
Yeah,
his
true.
position.
It was
like,
saved
what the
by
fuck
his
is wrong
brother got in a
with
scandal. Dude, have you followed all of the Cuomo shit?
Yeah,
I was about to ask, how is Cuomo still in the governor's seat?
He's
I
No,
didn't
he
know
not.
isn't.
was
He isn't.
gone.
This is a
He
year-old
is gone.
video.
Oh.
This is a year-old video, but I just stumbled upon it and I had to talk about it.
There,
I
Governor.
see. Okay. I don't know how I didn't know about this then.
Of course.
Man, you are so effective. So now, in a city of 8 million, soon to be 6 million, kids, hey, remember when you were a kid? All right, think back to when you were 12, 13. In that
Dude,
range.
by the way, again, 21. That's the cutoff. So kids, I don't know why the fuck he's talking about kids. This would be like if somebody said we're going to legalize booze, and you're like, the children. What about the children?
Exactly.
The children are smoking weed already, okay? You're not going to stop. Look, you're not going to stop them by keeping weed illegal. That's not going to happen.
Let me ask you guys a question.
All that's going to happen is they're probably going to start possibly smoking easier stuff because they're going to get their buddies who got medical marijuana card to get them weed. So they're just going to be smoking safer stuff that isn't laced with fentanyl.
Let me ask you a
Wow.
question. Do you guys, in your high school, was it easier for you when you were in high school? Was it
Yeah.
easier to get weed or alcohol?
Both are really easy. Probably weed for me.
For me, weed easily, because for alcohol you had to find a guy who had an older brother or someone who had a convincing enough fake ID. But every
What about
kid had
moonshine?
weed. I don't know.
Okay,
I'm
I grew
halal,
up I
bro.
grew up in a different area. Okay.
True.
It
I'm
was
an
relatively easy
inner
for me to
city
get
kid.
access to alcohol. Yeah, I had a crew when I was like 16 that had people who were drinking age.
True.
So like it was just whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah, but I feel like when you legalize it, it makes it harder to for kids to get their hands on it.
Yeah, of course, because they need like somebody with a legal
Yeah.
ID to do it, as opposed to just whoever they can access the weed from.
The problem is there's still going to be street dealers, right? That'll
Yeah.
just deal weed. They'll just probably be less because now there's other avenues, and there's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people who don't want to meet with the shady guy behind the CVS.
Yeah, exactly.
Who would rather go to a dispensary. Definitely
It's
if it's
true.
recreationally legal as well.
Where I'm at, it's recreational. There's still like a pretty, I mean, I don't know about the proportion, right? But if you go to any dealer on the street, it's cheaper than it is in the
Yeah, yeah.
dispensary.
That is
Like,
the main advantage. But I'm just saying,
yeah.
if there are other avenues available and the criminal world doesn't have the monopoly, then ultimately that means there will be less money going to a criminal underworld.
I will say, Rhyzohm, when we
And
first
like to
legalized
somebody's
here,
friend's roommate, not actually.
Yeah.
I don't want to
When we-
indicate that anybody selling weed is like this massive like mafia man.
no, for sure. When we legalized here, it was like that, where you could get it cheaper on the black market, but the dispensaries have caught up now. Like the
Yeah, okay.
prices are easily competitive. Like it's so yeah. Just
Yeah, it's
maybe
taking a
takes
while
some
here.
time.
There's a lot of regulations around it.
The
Gotcha.
market needs to stabilize. The shops need to be built because for a lot of like investment companies, investing in marijuana is dangerous because it's still class 1. So they're always spooked about investing into it.
Yeah.
So once we get that alpha, that like class 1, and we deal with some stuff on the federal level, then we're gonna see investment in the marijuana and explode.
Well, as long as they stop making it so that everything has to be run top down, like whoever gets the license has to control every part of the process. In some states where like if you get a license, you have to grow it, you have to package it, you have to distribute it, you have to run the store that sells it. And like because of that, it has such a steep barrier to entry that like there's just less people who are able to get into the market.
True.
All right, keep going.
You were in the city, even younger. So somebody's brother goes into the liquor store, buys a little beer for you, a little wine, bang, you get blasted. Remember that? Easy, right? On Long Island, Levittown, where I was, you want a beer, you want a wine? Easy. Some 18-year-old drinking age 18 then, come in, bring in all you want. That's what's going to happen with the pot. Okay? So the
It's already happening.
It's
with
already
pot.
that easy.
But the difference is they don't even care because there's just some dude on the street that gives it. It's not as it's much easier to get your hands on pot, sell it illegally on the street than it is booze. I think a lot of people don't even know you can buy booze illegally. Most people don't really even, I think these days, even know about moonshine or all this other stuff, right? Most people do know you can buy weed illegally. But the only difference is then, okay, there will also be people who get like people with medical marijuana or recreational or 21 that'll buy the younger people weed. Okay, that happens currently with alcohol. If this is a position you hold, Bill, then you also need to be bringing back prohibition. We need to reverse all of that. Like, I don't understand.
Exactly.
Like, what would he hold this position consistently?
Well, it's just a wedge issue. That's it. I mean,
Do you think,
I think it's really just
he
that.
genuinely believes this or no? Like,
I think he thinks drugs bad, and I don't think that he has like any reason to understand why he would like draw that line for all things, or like to even like care about that as like a position, because he gets paid to say drugs bad.
kids, 8, 9, 10, been smoking pot. Easy. Now, you can say, oh, it's easy to get now. Yeah, in some places it is. Not in my neighborhood on Long Island, it's not. It's around.
I swear to God, it is.
Okay, hold on though.
Yeah.
Even if he's saying that it's not, it wouldn't get easier if they
Bill
started
just
selling
needs
it
to
in
install
dispensaries.
Grindr. Do you know how many weed dealers is on Grindr? There's like
that
a
right?
ton, 100%. They got the little symbols, dude. It's the anyone with a gas can. That's the thing. Gas cans on Grindr, or maybe they'll have like a cigarette or something like that.
There's a gas can icon.
Let's not ignore he just said 8 or 9-year-olds though.
Yeah.
Wait, did he say 8 or 9-year-olds?
Yeah.
3-year-olds are smoking up.
In some places,
Yeah, like they're
Dude,
out of
I'm
the
sorry,
womb and
if-
they're like,
if-
Dad, can I get a dime bag?
If the 8 or 9-year-old is smoking weed or drinking beer, the problem is bigger than
Yeah,
look,
no
there's
shit.
available weed and
Not
beer.
only-
The problem is whatever's going on in that household.
Not only
other thing
smoking
is-
or drinking, but seeking out adults to go procure those things for them at 8 or 9 years old.
The other thing is this guy thinks he doesn't have drug dealers in his neighborhood. Like there's definitely suburban kids that are fucking dealing drugs. They just live in, their parents' house, probably next door to him. The average suburban kid is probably dealing pounds.
I wonder if his whole thing is a kid might get their hands on this thing. And that seems to be his danger. That seems to be his main crux of his argument. He's not even talking about adult consumption now, because I guess he's already acknowledged that that's gone. What about guns? Like, I know Bill O'Reilly's a big, he supports the Second Amendment.
Well,
If
I know
there's
this reminds
anything
me
I
of-
wouldn't want a child getting their hands on, it is a firearm. You know how many kids die every year from not like being deliberately shot, but just like treating like a revolver like it's a pacifier because their parents leave it out on the desk. It's sad.
This really reminds me of like
And I
trans
say that
women in
as I
sports.
support the Second Amendment. I'm saying that as I support the Second Amendment, but my position is consistent on this. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
Yeah, no, well, you interrupted at a point where I could be Klim Chim, so let me just make sure I'm really clear now. This take that he's delivering reminds me a lot of trans women in sports from the conservative side, where it's not really about that, but it's just about like, well, we don't really feel comfortable with trans people in our spaces or some shit like that, where it's like, it's not about the drug. It's just about, oh, what about the harm that's done to kids? So clearly, like, then what? We just ban the drug or something like that? Like, where the problem that he's talking about is not like relevant to like the policy that he brought up in the first place, right?
Not in my neighborhood on Long Island, it's not. It's around, but it's not easy. Now it will be. So a new study by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA, says that within 12 months, if an adolescent uses cannabis, okay, 11% of them get addicted. All right, let me repeat that.
I
Within
mean,
a year,
that's bad, but he said it like I was like he starts the sentence.
I thought he was gonna say 93%.
He says that like they will. I thought he was about to say like if they smoke pot, they will die or something like that. It sounded like he was building up to that. It was like they, and by they I mean 110, 1 out of every 10 will get addicted. Okay, well the same would be true of any illicit substance. Like you could say that for sugar.
Right. He's already talking about a fraction
McDonald's.
of a percent because he's saying like kids who have smoked weed. Right.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
already that's a small
I already
percentage.
say that is a very small percentage for a drug. If you just do a drug, the odds of you getting addicted to it is 1 out of 10. Could you imagine that shit with heroin? No, that statistic
wonder.
is not there at heroin. That is actually surprisingly low.
The
Bro, and the other
methodology
thing
comes
is,
into question too when I hear a stat like that.
You're
Though
talking
for
about
me,
kids too, right?
The other
These are
thing
kids.
is-
They're not
yeah,
responsible.
exactly.
some kids aren't addicted. They just like it. Like they just like, yo, this feels nice. Like, when are we gonna hang out and fucking do it again? You know, it's not like, oh, I need it. It's more like, yo, it's fucking vibes. Like, you know, I don't think that everyone who smokes weed is like itching if they can't fucking smoke it and shit.
if an adolescent smokes pot, 11% get addicted. Within 36 months, all right, that's 3 years, 20% of adolescents get addicted. Because once they use pot, they continue to use it.
Based.
Most
Wait, so after 3 years of use, you get addicted?
There are some towns.
That's such a long time.
That is a very long time, yes.
3
on
years.
Long
I tried
Island,
it
where
3
I am
years
right
ago.
now.
I'm addicted now. Like,
that say, we know Andrew Cuomo's insane. We know the state legislature's irresponsible. So we're not going to allow marijuana within our city limits. And I applaud these people. Village Park, that's Mayor Michael McGinty. Atlantic Beach, Mayor George Pappas. Freeport, Mayor Robert Kennedy. And Rockville Center.
Loser, number 1. Loser, number 2. Geek, number 3.
Demon rat.
Mayor Francis Murray. 3 out of 4 are Irishmen, and 1's a Greek.
I don't understand that at all.
Greeks.
What?
The Greeks-
relevance.
What?
He's a Greek, so of course
like, "Hey, the Indians
got
need to
the
pick it
honorable
up."
behavior.
Like,
yeah,
I'd
let's go. Italians, where are you at?
what? Okay. Bill O'Reilly, buddy. Bill O'Reilly.
Okay? They say, not in our town. We're not going to let you sell pot or use
Wait, are you telling me the people from the Emerald Isle, okay? The green pastures are not in favor of marijuana usage? I call bullshit.
pot. You do it in our town, I'm going to bring you in. That's what has to happen in New York State and everywhere else.
Let's look at
Bro,
the comments on this video. So I got 64,000 views.
Yeah, I'm
By
curious.
the way, for somebody who was on primetime television and now does this, kind of
Yeah.
sad.
Oh, that's a
that just
a year
goes to
ago,
show
too.
you. That just goes to show you that the Fox News audience. He was on Fox News, right?
Yeah,
They have no loyalty to these fucking guys. They just care about who you replace him with Hannity, with fucking Tucker, whoever's in that time slot. They'll just keep watching that. They don't
whoever
care
showing
about-
up on their Facebook feed.
Yeah,
Shaq can't see it because it's too small, but this one says maybe instead of looting Target,
click
now
on
they
it,
will
Dylan.
loot. What do you mean?
Click on the square.
Which? Okay.
I can read it from
Got
my
you.
thing.
Maybe instead of looting Target, maybe now they will loot Taco Bell.
What did I tell you about those Uber? What did I tell you about those Uber orders going up?
By the way, I'm looking
That's
through
the
all
disorder and chaos.
these. There are a decent amount of these that I actually disagree with Bill O'Reilly, and these are people that these are people that I think are obviously older in age, right? If you're still a Bill O'Reilly fan, you're not exactly using. So it's crawling up there, the pro weed sentiments. But anyway,
I don't think that you have to be older to have an old mind. I think there's a lot of people who like fall to the right who have like an older mindset. Even though they're like probably like 30s, something like that.
so I want to wrap up this topic with one of the most legendary, and this is the reason I even brought this up the first time, legendary breakdowns of somebody I've ever seen on national television. So this was on Fox News. Bill O'Reilly, he has his in-house statistics. He got prepped by a team. He sat down. He's ready. He brings in his left-wing stooge. The problem is his left-wing guy wasn't being a stooge. And that's what we're going to watch today. Because he messed up because he cited the wrong institution to use against this guy. So we're going to play that.
Here we go.
Massachusetts, Dr. Keith Abloh, a psychiatrist. Here in New York City, Dr.
And he had somebody on his side, too. It was a tag team.
Carl Hart, Associate Professor of Psychology at Columbia University, author of the book, High Price. All right.
By the way,
kids
Carl
and
Hart,
you don't
this
recommend
guy, very smart. I don't recommend a lot of Joe Rogan episodes. I recommend the Joe Rogan did with this guy. Really.
that, right?
Of course not. I don't recommend kids taking alcohol or smoking tobacco.
Any intoxicants at all. Bad for them.
That's right.
All right, so we have some common ground.
Absolutely.
Anybody.
What kind of bullshit common ground is that? Do you believe
right?
children should do drugs? No, I don't. I also don't believe they should drink. Bipartisanship has reached new highs today.
Yeah, that's a good starting point.
He's,
Like, where do
he's
we
trying
go
to
from
already
there?
frame it as though the guy's taking L's. So you're taking an L that you don't want kids
You don't
to.
want the kids smoking pot.
You're
Who can-
backtracking.
think would agree with you.
All right, thank you, and I appreciate that. Texting. You know it's an addiction. It's going crazy. Are you aware of that, right?
No,
yeah,
I'm not
it is.
aware that it's an addiction. No.
You don't think texting is an addiction among some children now?
Well, it all depends how you define addiction. You know, people.
They're compelled to do it. They have to do it. They have it machined in their hand all the time.
Well, you're compelled to do this show every day.
I get paid to do this show.
Exactly.
I wouldn't do it if I didn't get
Exactly,
paid to do it.
and that's exactly.
All right,
It's
so it's not a
True.
compulsion.
Oh,
It's a
my-
business decision.
Well, no, like you said, you get paid to do it.
Yeah.
And so there's a reason for you to do it.
Yeah, and Fox News took out his dealer, huh? His dealer
Dude,
cut him off.
So
Dude,
one of the
the-
things that we missed earlier in this, like I when you linked this, I watched like the beginning of this just to know what the context was. He brought up these stats that were like 23% of teens will admit to have trying weed within the last year or something like that. And then he also talks about like the statistics on how many of them are like addicted to texting and tries to draw this correlation between those two things. So like this whole thing is just going to be about like how new wave culture as he sees it, or like just in his boomer brain, like anything that's like new technology is like degrading and creating like degeneracy amongst the youth essentially.
I don't think it's even that. I think it's like it's because it's Bill O'Reilly. He couldn't help himself not be a creep to the women that he works with. So he just thinks that like if something is like enticing or like whatever, what was the word he just used before this? They're compelled to do it. That like they can't resist the urge because he couldn't resist the urge with the women he worked with. So that's probably where it stems from.
Oh,
I'm serious. He's
Something like
projecting. He's projecting his own inability to control his urges
holy
to
shit.
everyone else. He's thinking everyone's gonna get addicted to weed. Everyone's gonna get addicted to texting. Like I think that's where it stems from.
My God.
Is there a reason
And
it's for a kid?
it does not disrupt what you're doing.
So if you had a son or daughter and they were
I do.
15,
I have three. I have three
in their
boys.
teens?
2 in the teens. That's
Okay,
right.
and if they're texting more than 100 times a day, you don't have a problem with that?
Well, the thing is, I have a kid who's in the Ivy League institution. He's a teenager. My main sort of concern is how well he does in school. He texts quite a bit, but
Yeah.
he also gets all A's in school.
Yeah, but I don't know if you want the whole child to develop, not just the
Precisely.
academic.
You just said it.
Right.
That's precisely
And
it.
I don't know if the texting is leading to that. All right, Dr. Abloh, you see it a little bit differently. I see a coming storm here, a tsunami building with the drugs, the soft drugs, the pot, and the high-tech abuse. I think it's abuse. I think if a kid's texting 100 times a day, that's abuse. Go.
So
Wait,
100
what?
times a day.
It's
That's
abuse.
yeah, abuse.
It's abuse for them
But
to text.
the-
Are you telling me
but-
that if I binge too much
Self-inflicted
Netflix,
abuse.
it's
Nah,
abuse now?
Yeah, you're
You-
abusing
you-
yourself. You're not
binge
taking care of
something?
yourself.
Oh,
Exactly.
Listen, you guys are tripping. This might have been
No,
back in the
dude.
day when.
Bill
This might have been back in the
O'Reilly
day
is laying
when
the
it was.
foundations for Anna right here.
Bruh, this might have been back in the day when you had to pay per text, So he's mad that his kids are like, bro, 100 texts times 5 cents a text message. That shit's adding up. You're abusive.
Dude, I
You're
just did the
abusive.
math. If you're awake for 16 hours, 100 texts is 6.25 texts an hour. I feel like we're clocking in way higher than that nowadays.
Yeah, because they have to use T9 and shit. Like,
Yup. I
you know?
remember T9
It's not
word.
too bad, honestly, in modern standards. Yeah.
Absolutely. This is a perfect storm. We've talked about this, Bill. I've written about it. You've written about it. Bottom line is anytime you attempt to exit the real world in favor of a fantasy land where your emotions aren't troubling to you, there's a price to pay for that. Those are called...
What?
That's what my cell phone is, where all my anxiety and
you just text somebody and it's like D&D. You're like, does they think that we're all role playing through text? Like picks up goblet.
addictions, texting, the incessant use of Facebook, the use of marijuana now, which parents, by the way, they're caving. They're telling their kids, "Oh, it's just marijuana. Oh, you just sell marijuana."
I don't know how many parents would do that. Maybe
Bill O'Reilly knows who his main demographic is.
But I still.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say you're 16. You walk in on your kid and he has pot. What do you do? Wait, no, you're 16. They're 16. Sorry, they're 16.
But I would handle it a lot better than my parents handled it when they booked me, bro. Holy shit,
How do
bro.
they handle
my
it?
mom, my mom for the longest time equated weed to like crack cocaine, I guess.
Oh Jesus.
And she fucking went on like multiple days crying, bro, and being like, "I didn't bring my son to this country so that he become drug addict. What happened to you, Pesare Golam?" I'm like, "Fuck, mom, you're literally like tearing my heart apart. I'm sorry. Like, I won't do it anymore." And shit. I would not handle it like that. Like, that trauma will never leave me, bro.
God.
Watching my mom cry like for multiple days over this shit.
I remember.
I think I would handle it like a friend of mine's mom. She was basically like, she knew we were smoking, and she was like, "I'm gonna give you guys a space to do it. Like, if you're gonna smoke, don't go find some random spot to do it. Like, just do it here." I think that would be a fine way to handle it.
I remember an experience similar to that, Heem. And I remember it was my dad takes medication of some sort, and so some of those pills when I was over at his house like must have like fell into my bag. It was like blood thinning medication, and I'm not getting a high off of it. I'm not you taking it. But I come back from my dad's. I'm like 15, and she goes through my bag, right? Because she's looking for something that was in the bag, and she finds this pill, and she like has like an intervention with me. Like, what is this? I was like, I don't fucking know what that is. It was in your bag. I have no clue. But she was super, super, super adamant about it. But it was like blood thinner. But the thing is, she was so scared because of my mom's heroin usage that like even the slightest sign of anything was like terrifying to her because she didn't want to go through all that again, right? And so I understand why people are scared. They want to protect their kids. But when we're talking about marijuana is not doing really that much damage. It's not.
But I will
really
say I don't think people should be smoking it too young. I think
they
you should like if I've seen kids that I went to school with and shit that started really young, like chronically using it. Maybe, you know, like if you want to do it once every 6 months, you go to a thing, whatever, like, okay, fine. But I think if you're like chronically like a stoner, like I don't recommend 16-year-olds become like stoners, daily users, you know? And but like, you know, I think it makes a big difference when you're like 23, 24 and shit like that.
It does have impacts on development. And so I do think there is an actual reason for parents to say no. And this is why I don't have a complete laissez-faire attitude about it. If I found out that if I had a kid, right, and I found out that they were smoking pot, I would be very upfront with them about the developmental impact it could have on them, all of this stuff, and that like don't do it in front of me. I'm not gonna like tell you like I think you should wait for when it would be more healthy, blah 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 blah. But I'm not gonna like go down on them because I also know it's not really doing that much damage, and it's not like a hard drug.
You're not gonna cry for multiple days on end and say that you regret coming to this country.
Yes.
I think when it comes to kids, that's the best approach. Like, it's like you basically want to give them a compelling reason for them to do the thing you want them to. You can't just like tell them what they need to do and expect them to just internalize that out of fear.
Let's finish this segment.
I believe in this country, they're a minority. I think parents don't want their kids involved with intoxicating agents. Most parents, most responsible parents. There are parents who are addicted and who are irresponsible. But let's stay on the texting and the games, because the study shows from Winnipeg, interesting study, that the parents, they're lost here with the texting. They're not really on this. And remember, texts can be erased right away. So you literally have to be following your kid.
Could you imagine you walk in, your parents watching this guy, and you're like, this is the guy that my parents are now taking parenting advice from? It's Bill fucking O'Reilly.
around to know what that kid's doing and the interaction. Therefore, the children are bold now. The children are doing things that
of course.
you would never do on the telephone because you might be overheard. Go ahead.
Well, this is the Trojan horse, because even the people who can identify this as a huge problem are using texting. Now, you can say, well, they're using it less, but they're still on the drug. And we're going to find out that this disempowers people. It deposits them in a virtual world where their feelings don't need to have integrity, where their intentions can be the same as a pot smoker's, non-motivational, looking for the next high.
And you say to that?
Pause it for a second. Bro, these guys don't understand trying to slide into a girl's DMs from texting. Like, what do you mean? What's there's obviously a motivation there.
They think it's like a virtual world.
Yeah.
Texting is
There's a precursor to real life shit.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like their only experience with people interacting online is catfishing. Like, it feels like that's how they think everybody engages online.
They join some like role play message board and they just assume that's what texting is.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what to say because
let me frame it though. I think we're becoming a weaker nation because of all of this, particularly under 30. Under 30 is going to have to take over someday. All right, and they are lost in this world.
Bill, let's slow down. Let's think about the last 3 guys who occupied the White House. They all smoked marijuana in their youth, right? The last 3 guys, and
not chronically.
Well,
one didn't inhale.
Well,
and the other.
Wait,
what? Oh my God! Could you imagine? I smoked, but I didn't. And you buy that?
Yeah, I love the technicality.
You buy that.
I was just pressured by friends, so like I just like put it in my mouth and like I looked like I did it, but
he actually bought it. He actually bought that shit.
Who is he talking about? Do we know?
I think he might be talking about Clinton.
Clinton,
Like
he said
some Reagan energy. Oh
no, he famously said, "I smoke, but I did not inhale."
Man, technicality is always with him.
I didn't believe that when he said that.
I believe everything the presidents tell me. All right, Bush was an alcoholic and dealt with it, and Obama, we're not exactly sure how serious he was involved. But as I said in the talking point, some can handle, but some cannot.
Like, he might have been a dealer. You never know with that.
Was a drug lord.
You never know with Obama how involved he was. He was running it. He was running it. In my weapons dealings, I see him all the time.
He was importing it.
Overwhelming now. So you're going to have a lot of casualties on the battlefield.
That's not true. Let's talk about the statistic. Let's talk about the data. In 1978, the recent number of marijuana smokers in the 12th grade, it was 37% of the 12th graders said that they smoked marijuana recently. Today, that number
that's those
is
who
down
admit
to
to it.
22%.
Not the number I just gave.
Well, your number is wrong.
No,
your number is wrong.
Take it up with the National Institutes of Health. All right,
look,
they're the one that
I
put it
am a
out.
council member on the National Institute of Health. Your number is wrong. I'm telling you, it's 22% of seniors who smoke marijuana in the past month.
All right.
That's a fact.
I doubt it's the fact.
I don't know if you see it, but look how he looks at the camera. Give it a second.
Yeah, I saw
right
that.
there. Right there. He knows.
Yeah.
He knows that's the moment. That's the moment. He took him and RKO'd him, okay? It just
He's like, you're citing me, motherfucker.
My God. He just roundhouse kicked him, man. How did he not know this? That the person he has there works at the place that he's citing the info from. Then he debates him on his own numbers.
Is that the lesson learned from this is that to defeat this, all they have to do is say, well, you're just going with the majority. You're not looking at all the research. You know what I mean? I feel like they realized, okay, we can't battle with the experts when they say they have facts. So then we just have to point to alternate facts.
True. I believe in alternative facts, though.
I doubt it's a fact because we don't get this wrong. These researchers
That's
think.
wrong.
All right. Well, we'll call them again, and tomorrow I will say yes or no. Go ahead, Dr. Abel.
Bullshit.
Yeah, look, the doctor has it wrong. The bottom line is this is not 1970.
He's wrong. I'm actually the double king of that institution.
Do you know? No. Do you know Keith Abelo?
No, I don't know who this.
I've
guy
heard
is.
He's like a celebrity, fucking one of these Dr. Oz style types. I remember he once went on the Howard Stern show to give them narcissistic tests and then milk that for like he wrote a whole book about giving celebrities narcissistic tests. So he's like a celebrity
we should
doctor.
do that here. I remember
We
once
should.
I made a racism test and I was gonna go around and have every streamer take it and just grade them on a scale from the most racist to the least racist streamers. Just for the content. Just for the content.
Dude, I was watching Chud Logic today. He interviewed some woman who did a Dr. K video, and the first thing she says is, "I don't know much about you, but I heard you're racist."
Oh my god. What a meme. Bad marketing, gonna be honest.
1978, people weren't carrying cell phones. They weren't using Facebook. They weren't depositing themselves on YouTube and being surprised by being arrested
okay, I think
after
this is just
beating.
this guy rambling at the end. I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dr. Carl Hart destroyed that man. It was brutal. It was beautiful. And I'm very
What was the
proud of him.
aftermath of this?
What do you mean the aftermath? There was no aftermath.
like-
It was just
Yeah.
Bill
okay.
O'Reilly was humiliated. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Here,
3
you
minutes
tell your
of this?
editor to cut the video off right here. Subscribe to Dylan's channel, leave a comment. We're moving on to the next segment. All right, done. How's that for a rating?